Players all picked different powers. I was the only one who chose endless wealth. Everyone laughed at me for picking the most useless option before the apocalypse. They didn't know zombies weren't the real threat. The real danger was powered humans. The game world's rules were fair and clear. There were 300 players in total. All of them had already died in the real world. If they wanted the chance to be reborn, they had to survive the apocalypse game. Now please choose your starting item. I quickly scanned the items on the shelf. They were basically all kinds of powers. The players rushed to grab them. They were afraid that even being a second late would mean losing the power they wanted to someone else. Lightning strikes, wind blades, teleportation, healing, and more were disappearing fast. I flipped to the last page. On the bottom shelf I saw a coin. It said endless wealth. I immediately grabbed it. Also teleported in with me were the people who had died with me on the bus. Our class monitor Kui Yingri chose mind control. When he turned and saw me taking the coin, he said, "You're way too obsessed with money. We're in the apocalypse now. What's money even good for?" Before I could explain, his attention turned to the class beauty, Liu Ruyan. She had chosen love acquisition. I can gain the love of humans, even the love of zombies, with true love protecting me. I can't die. After all the items were claimed, the system's voice came back again. You have 1 year to train your powers. Get ready. The apocalypse will begin in 1 year. Warning, there can only be one winner in this game. Only the last player alive will qualify for the reward. After hearing that, everyone's expression changed. In this game, there are no friends. Everyone is the enemy. I left the scene fast and started my apocalypse survival plan. On the world map, I kept searching until I found a small island in the middle of the Pacific. It was just the right size. A true isolated island. Geologically stable. With a natural flat area. Perfect for building an airport. So I got straight to work. I dropped 1 billion to buy the island and named it Future Island. I said I was starting a tourism project. I bought 10 large cruise ships and signed construction agreements with NPCs. I also signed NDAs with the NPC executives so they didn't know the exact location of Future Island either. The workers worked day and night. To keep Future Island from being tracked, I bought signal jammers in advance and took the workers' phones away. The fortresses were disguised too, so they couldn't be found by satellite. But that was all a smokescreen. The real apocalypse bunker was underground. It could withstand nuclear strikes and biological attacks. Even if there were survivors, zombies, or whatever, they still couldn't break through 5-meter-thick steel walls. To solve the power problem, I installed wind power, tidal power, and nuclear power on the island. I also stocked up on 100,000 oxygen tanks, for use if things ever got desperate. The underground shelter had 12 separate compartments. If 1 or 2 broke down, the others would still be fine. Each compartment had its own purpose. 3 of them used the newest automated farming tech, so I could grow vegetables, raise fish, and raise chickens. 2 compartments stored enough supplies, medicine, food, and water to last me 10 years. Other compartments had bedrooms, kitchens, dining rooms, entertainment rooms, gyms, bathrooms, and medical rooms. When NPCs started doubting my construction project, I tipped them with money. Then they shut up and worked even harder to make money. Money was there to be spent. I couldn't even finish spending it. I went to the US and bought a ton of heavy weapons, including mobile combat robots and obstacle clearing robots. And since I paid more than enough, I even got hold of 2 nuclear bombs through unofficial channels. In a bay, I also hid my nuclear submarine in a plane. The underground bunker had a tunnel leading right there. I hired 2 instructors to train me every day to drive the submarine and fly the plane. To keep powered players from getting onto the island, I had artificial reefs built all around the island's original location. Big ships would hit the reefs and sink. A little closer in, I put up electric fencing around the island. In the water along the coast, I planted bombs. I also set up radar to detect anything approaching the island, so it could be shot down in time. After sending off the last batch of NPCs, I was the only one left on the whole island. I spent money to buy SpaceX, and I took control of 6,122 satellites in space to keep my internet stable. Over that year, I acquired airlines and shipping companies all over the world. In the final week, I ordered the mass destruction of all planes and ships. The whole world knew the richest man had destroyed all long-distance transportation companies. The NPCs all thought the billionaire had gone crazy. Only the players knew that this global billionaire was also their competitor. A small window popped up in the player world chat. "Are you the global billionaire?" Only he saw that I had chosen infinite wealth. But I ignored him. The apocalypse arrived. The players who had maxed out their powers were ready to go. The names and numbers of all 300 players appeared on the public screen. I was number 99. Kui Yingri was number 100. Liu Ruyan was number 101. Attention, the apocalypse has begun. This game will keep running until only 1 player remains. No one expected the apocalypse to arrive as a worldwide rainstorm. From north to south, the long intense rain triggered massive flooding. It was as fierce as the ancient flood in mythology. Future Island also got hit by heavy rain. But because the island was so small, the rain clouds were gone after just 2 days. The powered players were stunned. System zombies in a flood? What the hell are our powers even good for? Yeah, what a joke. You're playing dirty. Did I ever say the apocalypse would definitely be a zombie virus? Everyone fell silent, except me. When everyone entered this world, they had no assets. During that year, they trained their powers, while trying to find ways to make money. Not only was it exhausting, but their supplies were limited too. Only a few players who used powers for illegal activities managed to get a villa and build a shelter in the basement. But the first place the flood hit was the basement. Meanwhile, I was rinsing hot pot tripe while watching a live stream. The streamer was hiding behind a curtain, secretly filming the situation in the building across the street. A player was using fire powers to snatch supplies. Listen up, guys. This is not special effects and it's not cosplay. This is a real powered human. He used to be the security guard in our complex. Now he's using fire to break through the door. This is his 10th robbery, and it even alerted the NPCs. A whole squad of SWAT officers came into the neighborhood in rescue boats. They surrounded the building with guns out. Guys, this is the first gunfight I've ever seen. That guard's fire is insane. He melted the iron gate in seconds. The SWAT team went into the building. Gunfire was intense. Countless windows were blasted open by flames. Explosions kept going off nonstop. Then suddenly, a figure flew out from the top floor and crashed straight into the floodwater. Not long after, one player's name on the game screen turned gray. That meant the player had died. At that point, in the player world chat, Kuyingri messaged me again. Let's team up. We're classmates after all. And our numbers are right next to each other. We can definitely make it to the end if we work together. You can see this, can't you? Say something. My mind control power is really strong. You don't have any powers. At that point, I can help you deal with the other players. I still didn't reply to him. He wanted to team up with me. Once it was just the two of us left, he'd use mind control to KO me and become the only winner. Was he underestimating my IQ or overestimating his own? No water, no power. Food shortages. 3 months of flooding shattered the NPC's hopes. Eventually, some people couldn't hold on anymore and started looting, rioting, and burning things. The players mixed in with them too, trying to find any possible way out, but powers couldn't stay hidden. That caught the attention of the higher-ups. An arrest order for powered humans was issued. Anyone caught would be sent to a research facility. But my world seemed completely different from theirs. Every day I walked around the island and soaked up the sun. I checked on the crops now and then, and inspected the submarine and plane. Future Island was basically paradise. I was living way too comfortably, but good times never last. In the end, somebody sold me out. An anonymous message popped up on the world screen. Player 99 is the world's richest man. He must have built tons of shelters before the apocalypse. As long as we find Player 99, everyone can survive. The world chat, which had been quiet for a long time, exploded instantly. I've seen the news. I figured the richest man had to be a player, but I didn't know which one. So it's 99? Player 99, speak up. You're living in luxury by yourself, while the rest of us suffer. You're cruel and vicious. Yeah, we should eliminate a player like that. If we find 99, we survive. I rolled my wrist and typed into the public chat. Everyone calm down. I'm Player 99. You want shelters? I can provide them. But don't drag it out. If you won't say it, we'll definitely find you, take all your resources, and kill you. I smiled and kept typing. But I only built shelters in 4 places, China, the US, Germany, and Australia. And each shelter can hold at most 20 people. I marked the 4 locations on the world map. There are over 200 of you. There's no way they can fit everyone. Please, I'll give you the shelter passwords. First come, first served. Just don't come after me. The second I typed the passwords, all the players went crazy. Overnight, players had already reached the shelters. Most of them had powers that let them move fast. The shelters were built on high ground, so they weren't threatened by the flood. When they opened the shelter doors and stepped inside, it felt like heaven. Player 58 proudly started live streaming in the world chat. I can't believe the shelter is this nice. Money really does rule. They were eating steak and lamb chops inside, drinking red wine, with a table packed full of gourmet food. 12 people were already inside the shelter. Everyone agreed to lock it down. China's shelter resources are limited. No need for anyone else to come.